Hello, atheists.
So,
Okay, I'm leaving a link in the description where you can check a book that studies um, a certain hormone that we all have in our bodies and that we absolutely need. It's called oxytocin. Just like other hormones that would be sometimes called hormones of happiness, serotonin and dopamine, these hormones can be stimulated and your body can produce more of them when you do certain things or when certain things happen to you.
all right, that's kind of an oversimplification of what oxytocin is. Um, I don't really have a problem with that, although I would like to give some more information just in case somebody watching doesn't really fully understand what oxytocin is. After all, that's kind of my thing. I am the super science bro, after all. So, this is actually an excerpt from the American Psychological Association. Link will be in the description. Oxytocin is produced mainly in the hypothalamus, where it is either released into the blood via the pituitary gland or to other parts of the brain and spinal cord, where it binds to oxytocin receptors to influence behavior and physiology. The excitement over the hormone began in the 1990s when researchers discovered that breastfeeding women are calmer in the face of exercise and psychological stress than bottle feeding mothers. But more recent research has shown other roles for the hormone too. Oxytocin levels are high under stressful conditions such as social isolation and unhappy relationships.
And your reaction is you feel really good.
Well, that's not entirely true. According to research, oxytocin can intensify a bad bonding experience, such as men who have had poor relationships with their mothers. It can also make people less trusting of those that they deem to be outsiders. So, to put it simply, oxytocin can have positive and negative effects depending on your environment.
For example, your body produces more oxytocin when someone you like hugs you, when you listen to music that you like. This book concentrates a lot on physical touch and how it's necessary for all of us, and how when it's kind and loving touch, just caring physical affection, how it helps even our physical health and how much it affects everything in our body. And it all comes down to stimulating this particular hormone, to producing this hormone called oxytocin.
So, the video is titled One Question for Atheists. Would you accept the evidence in this case? I'm failing to see how this is relevant to anything.
You can check out the link if you want. It's scientifically proven that um, we all cling to people, situations, things that stimulates creation of these hormones for us. Um, when this is about a child, it means the child would run to the person who is always nicest to this child, would usually hug the one who always smiles at the child, who always hugs the child first, someone who makes the child safe and loved, accepted. This stimulates creation, producing of oxytocin inside of this child, and the child, just like any other animal, runs for more, wants more. The book mentions that there are lots of other ways how you can raise your levels of oxytocin because it's healthy for you. For example, massage, swimming, good music, lots and lots of company with good friends, family, having a pet, especially a dog, could be, of course, other pets as well. The important thing here to understand is that we cannot really change this about ourselves. This is how most people work. And even though you don't believe in God and you claim that you just look at evidence and you are completely rational and logic is everything, it's actually not. Oxytocin in your body beats logic.
Uh, I'm sorry, what?
The book mentions that even in business decisions where you should be using logic, when you should be completely rational, you in your subconsciousness you trust those business partners who for some reason they manage to raise your levels of oxytocin in you, and that's what you do. Now, swimming or taking a bath is mentioned in this book because water covers your whole body and kind of gives you this feeling that's kind of like physical touch for your entire skin, which also usually for most people raises the levels of oxytocin, which is healthy and good. First and foremost for your mental health, it makes you feel good, but it affects your physical health as well.
All right. So what about the people that have aquaphobia? Are you suggesting that throwing them into a big body of water is going to comfort them? That's why it's called aquaphobia. They have an irrational fear of water. They are not going to be comforted by being submerged. It's not going to be like a hug to them, it's going to be like a fucking straitjacket.
So all in all, your entire being, your physical body and your mind and your brain and all your emotions, everything.
Your mind and your brain? Like a mind brain?
His mind brain is permanently rejecting his real identity! Mind brain? That's a thing? Shut up.
Okay, so first of all, mind and brain are synonyms. So that is kind of redundant. And second of all, your brain is physical. So I guess you just misspoke or whatever. But I'll let that one slide.
Just goes to whoever or on whatever can raise these levels of oxytocin, and well, similarly this applies to dopamine or serotonin. Check it out if you want. My question for you is more of another topic.
Finally. You just wasted over 4 minutes getting to your point, but at least we're finally here.
I want to address the fact that I am listening to lots of complaints from multiple non-believers or atheists about how Christians just ignore all logic and all evidence, and they just don't want to give up their religious beliefs.
Yeah, I would say that Christians fit that fairly well. A lot of times they ignore evidence when it contradicts their holy book, but I kind of get the sense that that's not really where you're going with this.
The book I'm mentioning actually mentions church a little in passing, for example, saying that music is also a way to raise your levels of this hormone, and its company combined with good music and creating music actually helps. For example, going to a concert, going with your friends, but also church, singing in a church choir or having friends at church and singing together, having music in the church while surrounded by people who you know you can trust.
Okay, and? You realize the whole time that you've been talking, you've been explaining how you can get oxytocin levels to rise from a wide range of places. What does this have to do with anything?
So you're complaining that the Christian doesn't really accept logic. The Christian sees that besides the logic, there is just loneliness, or this place called church that raises the levels of oxytocin. I mean,
again, you can raise your oxytocin levels in many places. The church is not special in this regard. The church cannot give you higher oxytocin levels than you could get from watching a movie or playing a video game that you really like, according to you. So, you know, I don't get what your point is.
now I'm not saying manipulation is a good thing here.
Good. Because it isn't. And neither is indoctrination, which is what religion is.
But I want to ask you, what would you do if your mother or somebody you really care about, not a sexual partner, not a romantic partner, but somebody who you really care about for a long time, your mother, your father, your sibling, would call you and tell you they were arrested. And then after you would meet with them and after you would talk with the police, you would find out that all the evidence points to the fact that your mother did kill a person. Your mother or somebody you really care about, your uncle, your best friend, your sibling, is a murderer.
Well, if they're guilty of the crime, then they have to do the time. It's actually as simple as that.
And this person you love is crying in your arms and is telling you straight into your face, no, I did not do it. I did not kill anybody. I was in the same building where this murder occurred, but I'm innocent.
Sounds like you're going for the old appeal to emotion fallacy.
I mean, I know this starts like a beginning of some kind of pretty cliched action movie, which still could be a really good flick. But what would you do? Because in the real life, it wouldn't be so cool. It would be incredibly painful.
Sure, I mean, it would be painful and unpleasant, but if that person did commit a crime, then by logic, they are guilty and must be tried.
Imagine all the evidence pointing to the fact that your mom killed somebody, murdered somebody, and is being arrested, and she's saying she did not. But here is the evidence, here is the logic.
Yes, my point exactly. The person is guilty of committing the crime. All the evidence is pointing there. Are you saying you'd ignore all that evidence and go against logic? Weren't you just complaining about how atheists say that Christians don't use logic? And then you proceed to not use logic? Nice.
Not only is it difficult for you to see her suffer, but more than that, this is the person who always raises your level of oxytocin. This is your source. And your body is signaling you, well, do something. Don't lose this source.
That's not in any way a justification to not send her to prison. That will not fly in a court of law.
You just have to stay loyal to your source of oxytocin. You just have to stay loyal to this thing that stimulates all the correct hormones in you, that makes you happy and healthy.
That's ridiculous. Are you suggesting that the person just telling you that they didn't commit the crime and that just automatically makes them innocent? So you're wanting to ignore all the evidence, including video evidence, if they found fingerprints from her on the murder weapon. They had a lot of eyewitness testimony to corroborate with not only each other, but all of the video cameras that showed her clearly committing the murder. Are you saying you would throw all of that out? Are you listening to yourself? What are you saying? Shall I remind you yet again what you said earlier about not using logic? Because you're doing exactly that. You're complaining about Christians not using logic, and then you're proceeding to not use logic. I don't understand how you keep coming back to this.
Because we are animals. What would you do? Would you look at the evidence? Which is always a great thing to do.
I go where the evidence points, yes.
Which is why we are more than the rest of the animals. But would you trust the evidence, or would you still be loyal to your mom? And would you still try to find a way to prove she's innocent?
This isn't about loyalty. This is about following the evidence to its logical conclusion. And if your mother is guilty of the crime, then she must pay her fine. There is no other way that you can get out of this situation. You'll be sad. But so what? That's not an argument against her committing the crime. That doesn't absolve her from anything. That does not make her automatically innocent. It doesn't work that way. You keep repeating yourself, and I keep repeating myself, and I'm getting tired of doing it.
And to put it in a less intense example, did you ever meet an atheist who was dating this horrible jerk or this horrible complete bitch who was stealing his money or her money, cheating, even physically abusive, and you told this atheist, dump that person. This is an abusive relationship you are with. It's absolutely horrible. It's not getting better. Leave her, leave him. Find somebody who you deserve.
All right. I don't know why it has to be an atheist in this situation, but sure, I have been in that situation. What do? You explain to them that they're in a toxic relationship and it would be beneficial for them to get out of it. What do? Do you just, use more appeals to emotion? Is that what you would do? I would use logic and tell them. It's simple. The person's a dumbass.
Find someone better. And the atheist who has no belief in God whatsoever tells you, yes, you make some good points. All evidence shows that this is a horrible, abusive person. But they bring certain levels of certain hormones in me high. And I can't dump them. Even though logic dictates to leave this person.
Then they're a fool. What's your point?
Well, I would really like to know what would you do in the case that your mother is arrested and all the evidence points to the fact that she did it, she's the murderer. At any rate, my point here is this is what Christians do. You're complaining that they ignore logic. Well, so do you when it comes to other sources of good oxytocin high in your life.
Wait, did you just admit to not using logic? Oh, that's actually hilarious. But besides that, when atheists talk about using logic, we are referring to the Bible and how Christians will try to justify it even when it has been proven to be wrong.
Church, belief in God, church music, church friends, these are all just as legit sources of this high as all your friends, your mom, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your favorite music.
So what? What exactly are you getting at here?
Without it, we die. Without it, we suffer from terrible depression. Without it, there are suicides.
Citation needed, please? I've literally never heard of this.
We need these sources. We need these hormones to work properly inside us. So, what would you do? Would you be more logical than a Christian?
Yes, I actually believe that I would. Because you have admitted that you take feelings over facts. You just proved a point that Christians do not use logic. That is our argument, and you have not rebutted that at all.
Would you look at the evidence and agree that your mom murdered somebody? What would you do?
Okay, so this whole video had nothing at all to do really with oxytocin. It had nothing to do with anything that would involve using science to justify anything really. There's just a weird hypothetical situation where this lady thinks that we would just ignore logic and automatically be on our mother's side. No, I wouldn't be like that. Now, I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but I look at the evidence, and if the evidence told me that somebody that I really care about had committed a murder, yeah, I mean, I would be sad. I would be, upset. But that doesn't change that they committed a crime. And that also doesn't fix the fact that they need to pay for it. I cannot help anybody in that situation. There's literally no way to help them. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you did like the video, you can hit the thumbs down. I don't really care. That at least tells me that maybe I need to improve on areas. And if you think that I do need to improve, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think that I could improve upon. Camera, lighting, sound, audio, whatever. Structure of the video. If you don't want to see my face, you just want to see like a background like this one or something while I'm talking, and just text or something like that, then, you know, that's fine. You know, I'll take all your points into consideration. Now, the reason that I did this video is when I started watching it, I thought that this lady was going to make some kind of an argument based upon, you know, some scientific reasoning why, you know, Christianity is correct or something. But as it turns out, it's just more appeals to emotion. It makes you feel good, so it must be right. Right? No, that's not it. But yeah, if you come across a video where somebody has misappropriated science in any way, or, you know, they've just said something retarded and clearly wrong, and you want me to do a response video to it, I'll be happy to take a look at it. Just link it in the comments or send me a message. You know, I'm probably going to make a Facebook page dedicated to this channel, and you can just, you know, come there, like that page, and then send me video suggestions or whatever, and I'll try to take a look at them. Please, though, I don't want to get too tied up in the religion debate. There's not really too much to say on that front. I'm usually wanting to stay in the realm of science, so if they do use something as far as science goes and they have misappropriated it or they've misunderstood it, send me those links. I'll take a look at them and I'll try to correct them where I can. I am the Super Science Bro. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.